Thank you all for coming to my talk. I see some new faces. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Abhi. I've been here in Cape Town for about 9 weeks now with the HP program. And anyone who spent a decent amount of time with me knows how much I love improv. I have pushed several of you very hard to come join me in doing improv. I've hosted a couple of workshops. And a quick plug, there will be another workshop coming up, so join me on that. Watch out for an announcement. But the reason I get so persuasive when it comes to improv is because I genuinely believe that improv is for everyone. And for those of you who don't know what improv is, it is a form of entertainment where the performers make up everything on the spot. So every dialogue you hear, every line that's uttered, every move that's made is made up on the spot, and the only suggestion we start with is an audience suggestion. Now, I think there are lots and lots of good reasons for doing improv, and I can spend the next few hours talking about it, and I believe we're not going downtown tonight, so this is the entertainment for the evening. Buckle up. No, I'm gonna distill it down to what, in my experience with doing improv, has been the 4 most impactful benefits for doing improv. And we'll start with reason number 1. And this is about being present. The first and often stated only rule of improv is yes and. And what yes and means is that if I'm doing a scene with a scene partner, and let's say Dale and I are on stage, we're doing a scene, and I go up to Dale and I say, "Hey there, cowboy." Isn't it fun being on the moon? Now, it's a stupid line, but what I've created in this is we are, for whatever reason, we're living in this world where Dale and I are cowboys, I'm smoking a cigarette, and we're on the moon. And it is Dale's job as my fellow improviser to accept this reality. For the rest of the scene, this is where we are, and that's the yes part. That's going with what I said, and Dale's response will build on top of it. That's the and part. So if instead Dale chooses to reject this reality and he says something like, "No, dummy, we've been astronauts all of our lives, this is why we're here," it sort of breaks the scene. The audience doesn't know which one of us to believe in anymore. Are we cowboys or are we astronauts? So that's yes and. And how that relates to being present is that you cannot follow the rule of yes and without paying close attention to what your scene partner is saying. And that's actually very difficult to do. Because when you're up on stage and you're doing a scene, you're in front of a live audience, and there are lots of people, there's no script, and you are tasked with making people laugh. And that's a pretty scary situation to be in, and your automatic response is to just start thinking, what clever line can I come up with? What weird behaviors can I exhibit? What strange characters can I conjure up? And as you're thinking all these things, it's distracting you from the one thing you should be doing, which is tuning everything out and paying close attention to what your scene partner is saying. And so in that sense, I think improv really challenges your ability to live in the moment, to being present, to being a good listener in the toughest of situations. I've noticed how I personally have become a much better listener, much better at just being in the moment because improv is constantly working on this skill of mine. Reason number 2 is about social anxiety. Now, I don't think social anxiety is a binary thing. I think everyone feels it. The degree to which we feel it, the situations in which we feel it vary from person to person. But I think we can all relate to moments like when our friend invites us to a party where we only know that one friend of ours. And we start debating whether we want to go. There's going to be a bunch of strangers. Do I really want to put myself through that anxiety and through that awkwardness? Or the time at work when your manager puts you on the spot and asks you for an impromptu presentation that you're completely unprepared for, and we start panicking. And no matter how much we try to avoid these situations, they will come up. And I think this is where improv really sets you up to succeed, because you're always unprepared in improv. You're always scared and you're always anxious. You never really know what your scene partner is going to say, so you cannot premeditate, you cannot write a script. The only way to get better at improv is to start getting comfortable in the unknown. And that starts to translate into these very real life situations. You start noticing yourself being more comfortable around strangers. You're more at ease in unprepared situations. You filter your thoughts less, and you start becoming okay with the absurdity of them. This doesn't necessarily mean you become weird. Some of us probably do. But you become okay being weird. Reason number 3 is the community. And I think Hacker Paradise folks will really this will resonate with you guys, because one of the underlying themes with several conversations I've had with people over here has been the community and the people over here is part of the reason why they really like Hacker Paradise. In my adult working life, the strongest sense of community I felt, besides HP, of course, has been at Improv. And it makes sense. You are being vulnerable in front of each other from the get-go. You are failing in front of each other. You have several good scenes, several more bad scenes, and you learn to celebrate it all together. Improv is also rooted in teamwork. You succeed or fail as a unit, and that creates this mentality of supporting one another through the good and bad, through the ups and downs. I think also going back to the concept of being weird and being yourself, you start becoming weird and yourself around your fellow improvisers, as you can see from some of these goofy photos we've taken before our shows. And I think the last reason, and if nothing I've said so far has been appealing or relatable, I feel personally this is the only reason you need for doing improv. And that's that improv is scary. Conquering your fear is not a black and white thing. It's not a series of checkboxes that you just tick off and say that I've conquered all of the fears. It's more of a muscle that we work on throughout our lives. The more we put ourselves in scary situations, the stronger that muscle becomes. Every class, every performance, every practice I've ever done has been scary to some degree. And this is where I felt the biggest spillover effect of doing improv. Because when you start putting yourself through those scary situations, a funny thing happens. You start to recognize your body's response to fear. You start noticing the knots in your stomach. You start noticing your heart racing. And if you're brave enough, you start saying yes to those situations more often. And this really just opens up a lot more experiences, a lot more adventures that you previously would have rejected. It was about 6 weeks ago here at Hacker Paradise itself that I went bungee jumping with Danny and Renata. And I would never have imagined myself going bungee jumping. The opportunities have come before and I've always rejected them. But when the topic came up over here, I pushed to make it happen. I wanted to make sure that we went bungee jumping. And it was the same yes and approach that I am doing this, I'll figure out everything else later on. And there's probably a fine line there between facing your fears and just being stupid. And maybe I cross that sometimes. But I think the larger point here is that I know for a fact I would not have gone bungee jumping if it wasn't for the mindset that improv created in me. And I think that in itself makes the whole journey worth it. Okay, so to recap, why must you do improv? Because it helps you be present, helps you become a better listener, staying in the moment, helps you overcome social anxiety in very real life social situations. There's a very strong sense of community, friendships, and bonds that you create with your fellow improvisers. And the biggest reason for me is that it helps you conquer your fears. And despite all of this serious and scary stuff, the reality is improv is super fun as well. You get to be weird and goofy around your friends, around strangers, and it's completely acceptable. I have not attended an improv class or even the couple workshops I've hosted here at HP where someone did not enjoy improv. At the very least, they'll come out having a good time, or for some of us, it ends up being a lot more than that. So my main thing for everyone over here, here's another picture of us being goofy. My main thing to everyone over here is to look for opportunities to do improv, wherever you're coming from, wherever your travels are taking you next. It is a small community, but opportunities are there. They're there in Cape Town as well. I'm here for another 3 weeks. I will be hosting at least one more workshop, if not two. Try to join it. I guarantee you'll have a good time, and maybe, like me, it might turn out to be a life-changing experience. And that is my talk. So we'll do roughly an 8 to 10 minute set. If we can get someone to time us for about 8 minutes.
I can watch it on the camera,
perfect.
that's fine.
So just like wave at us or something when 8 minutes are up, and then we'll find a good time to stop.
Okay.
And we'll just say a scene or something to end the set.
Sometimes people wonder about this, it should be clear, but in a duo set, like if we walk off to the side and re-enter, we'll probably be coming back as different characters than the ones you just saw, but sometimes people get confused. So just for clarification, if we're like in the middle talking as two characters, walk off and walk back on, you probably expect us to be like different people.
If you're confused as well, just laugh. Any doubt, just like anything you really need for that, just go for it. All right, I think we're ready to get started. So in order for us to get started, we just need a suggestion from the audience about anything at all.
Rubber lasers.
Yeah.
What was that?
Rubber lasers.
Rubber lasers.
Rubber lasers.
Rubber lasers it is.
Cool.
All right.
I don't know, but
This is your new invention?
Mm-hmm. This is one to make us money.
You hyped this up big time, dude. We're
Dude.
pitching to like Zuckerberg tomorrow.
Yes.
You brought a rubber band.
Lasers are the thing, I'm telling you. Jeremy, lasers are the thing, and rubber makes it flexible.
Here, we can't just walk into Mark Zuckerberg and be like, hey, I want $2 million.
Dude, like, this is how it works. Like, Star Wars already did vertical, like, straight line lasers. We need a little more oomph, a little more juice in our new invention. We can't just make money out of, like, just rehashing existing things.
Dude, Peter, I agree. It's why I went into business with you.
That's
but, like,
right, Jeremy.
but, like-
Smart choice on that.
I'm regretting it a little bit now. I mean, this is our careers on the line, man. We're trying to get funded. This is like a big time VC, right?
I know, yeah, and I'm telling you, this will work. I know you care a lot about making money.
Yeah.
This is our way of making money.
Okay.
Yeah, trust me.
I quit my banking job just because I want, like, dude, I wouldn't just join this if I thought we were gonna go pitch like a fucking rubber ball
Dude,
and a laser and pointing it and saying it's a straight line.
see, this is why you're not like able to get to that next level. You keep being pessimistic about all these great ideas I come up with.
You're right, I shoot you down all the time.
Yes,
Okay,
you
I'll
do.
try and take you more seriously.
Yeah, thank you. I have some self-respect. You know, like these ideas are not. You're not gonna share them with other people as well. Is what I'm saying.
I won't. I'll keep it a secret.
Yes.
I know how much you care about like being the man with the idea in the room.
That guy got it full of ideas over here.
Remember the last time we pitched, and that time you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have Velcros, but to like keep your ties on."
That's right, Velcros. This is it, man. This is the next great idea.
Oh my God,
Velcro
your tie
and
is never
ties.
gonna come off.
No, this is totally gonna work. Velcros and ties. It's all about combining two existing things that already exist. Yes.
So like you're telling me if I decided I wanted button shoes, that would be like a big thing too? I'm trying to learn from you, man. You're a mentor.
Button shoes. You're getting onto something over here.
Or like a watch, but like instead of a watch band, you just use like floss.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean that might not work because like then the watch will just fall off.
Okay.
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
don't
so
know
like
what to do.
I think the Velcro idea was great. It's just that Zuckerberg was not in a good mood. That
Yeah.
day. Yeah, that was the only problem. He just didn't. He had a
Dude,
bad
you pitched
salad
him
or
button
something.
shoes.
Button shoes. It had its potential, dude. Sometimes people just don't see great ideas when they're happening.
Okay, fine. How do you want to like play off the presentation between the two? I feel like you can. Be
I will sell the
ideas,
idea.
man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what
And
I do.
I'll talk about the finances.
Correct.
So I think
You are
we
the
just-
money guy.
I'm the money
I'm the
guy.
idea guy.
So
That's
basically,
it.
you go in,
Mhm.
you show him the rubber band, you show him the laser.
It's not a rubber band. You keep calling it a rubber band.
It's
It's
a
a
rubber
rubber
band.
laser. Like, let's get it right. Like, you gotta respect the product here.
Okay,
How are we
so
gonna make money if one of the founders doesn't even know
okay,
it's
I'll band it, alright? I'll call it the bendy light, whatever. We'll call it something cool.
Bendy lasers. Maybe.
Bendy, you're attached to the word laser.
Yeah, it's what's gonna sell.
Fine, you're the ideas man. whatever.
Exactly.
Okay, and then I will like throw out a finance lingo.
Yes,
feel biased.
you're good at the finance lingo.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg doesn't know them at all. He's just
He's just a tech guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So I'll go up. I'll talk about ROI.
Yes, yeah,
Draw some graphs.
exactly.
And then we'll be good.
We'll be good.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Do you think we should like?
Packaging. We need to discuss packaging.
Yeah. We don't have a package guy.
No, we
Okay.
don't.
I heard you're hiring for a package
Yes, I am. The only spot that we really need is a package guy. Tell me more about your credentials.
Okay, so I used to ship boxes at UPS.
Great,
Okay, so I have,
good start.
We have like cardboard.
Ooh,
We have linen.
I
For a
am
little
very
mix,
impressed
if you wanna
already.
Mix it up. I have wool, if you'd like.
Wool.
Yeah.
I would never have thought of wool.
I can even make you a box out of cotton
Oh,
if you want.
wow! You
Yeah.
guys really like diversify in terms of your packaging.
You will not find a better package guy in all of Silicon Valley, maybe the world.
Maybe,
So I think you should
wow.
hire me.
Okay.
I really want this job.
What is? Yeah, I see on your resume like you have not been employed by anyone in 10 years. Like it's a lot of like founder of my own like packaging company, 0 customers, but like.
I mean, I founded that paper company because I wanted to diversify out of the 4 materials that I had already made, but I feel like I contributed enough to the world, you know? Like, I'm just one of those save the world types, and
Wow.
when you feel like you've made enough types of packages for people to ship things in,
What else is there to do?
there's- yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can help us. We need a package or packaging guy for our packages. Yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that
So you
guy.
handle the packaging guy.
Dude, that guy was a little weird, but I
Yeah.
don't think that was a lot of options. So yeah.
We also, I mean, I don't know if you're gonna be the guy to like run our day-to-day operation.
No. I'm the ideas guy. So I need to just like kind of sit in my corner, be by myself, and then
Yeah.
just think of great ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need a
Cannot
guy
be
who like
distracted.
needs to be efficient, like.
I think I actually need an assistant to help me not get distracted. I think that's our next hire.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you want to be an assistant
Correct.
at the greatest rubber laser company in the world.
There's only one that I've heard of, but yes, it must be the greatest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, like your boss is like a big time ideas man. So you got to be ready to like write them all down.
Okay.
You're gonna work for him.
What is
So like if he says button shoes,
just write it down.
yeah. just
Okay.
write it down.
And that's it. Like, is he pretty specific about like his like coffee?
Just
or-
don't insult his ideas, okay?
Okay.
I've been in business with him for a long time. He once tried to pitch me on like a watch with flaws. It was retarded.
But like, if
But
he
don't
says
question it.
Okay, if he says it, I should still write it down.
Yeah. He thinks Zuckerberg loves him. The guy doesn't. But if he mentions Zuckerberg, you'd be like, yes, boss.
Okay.
Smart.
That's Zuckerberg is his friend or something, according to him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's
Sounds pretty shit. Like I don't like the job description over here, but I'll take it. I need the money. I haven't been employed for 10 years. I'm with the packaging guy.
It's just
trying to
getting-
buy different
it
things.
sounds like you don't have any self-respect.
No, I'm pretty desperate at this stage.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. All right, the team is coming
So I
together.
got you a good assistant.
Mhm.
He's a little bit of a pushover. I'm
Oh,
gonna
shit.
throw it out there.
Okay, that's all right. I need a pushover. He just needs to write down shit that comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, that's why you have me to call you on your bullshit.
Well, yeah, you do that sometimes. Too many times. Like it's
I've thrown in money into like 4 of your business ideas.
it's true. Yeah, you have got a very good ROI. on them.
Yeah. Why do you know I know how to talk about it now, thanks to you. Like, I'd rather invest in index funds. I think I'm just gonna throw in index funds into the presentation too. Or Bitcoin.
No. That's not the big idea. Like Zuckerberg doesn't. I know Zuckerberg.
He likes new ideas.
Zuck loves new ideas and big ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't like to fuck around with like just index funds.
Okay, I don't know, I learned about some like
buddy
SHA
of mine.
56.
Good buddy of mine. We had
hashes or
dinner.
something
We had
today.
dinner the other day. Good buddy of mine. We go golfing sometimes.
Go golfing,
Yeah.
you and Zuck.
Yeah. When I'm pitching him ideas.
Okay.
He doesn't like it when I'm around. But that's okay. Good friends do that sometimes.
I sometimes don't like when you're around, but I stick with you too.
Yeah.
Are you sure? You seem like a little worried now.
I am a little worried. Like, I mean, I feel like the last time he kind of kicked me out of the office, he's like, I'm done listening to your ideas, and I'm struggling a little bit. I feel like this one has to be it. Like, otherwise,
And you think
Zuck's a great friend and all, but like, he just, I think he's reached his limit.
with you
With me,
specifically?
with us. Yeah.
So how about I become the new idea?
No. I am the ideas guy. Yeah, this has been established.
Yeah, but I want a chance to
I'm
step up.
stressing out a little bit now. I don't know. I don't feel confident in these rubber bandies or whatever. What was this called? Rubber lasers.
Laser.
Yeah.
I tried to brand it. And
That's
you shot
right.
me down.
Fuck, dude. What are we gonna do? Is this gonna work?
Dude, if you want to be a CEO, you gotta have the cool head. This is what I'm saying. I should.
Where's my assistant? I need quiet time right now.
You called for me?
Yes, sir. Yes. Just I need to not be distracted anymore.
Okay, not distracted.
Not distracted.
I have a question for you. I was told
This
not
is
to
very
do this.
distracting.
I'm sorry,
But
but
go ahead.
I want to step up as
Yeah.
an assistant.
Yes.
I'm not sure your idea is the best one.
What? How you are my assistant?
I know.
You should only be writing down my ideas.
Okay, sorry, but like,
Well, no, don't write that down. There were no ideas there. What are you writing? Are you writing about, are you complaining?
I know
about-
your business partner told me to write down everything you said. I'm not questioning you.
That's
So
the good thing that Jeremy did over there. Yeah. Right. All right, we'll call it there. Let's see.